Hello and welcome to this episode of Creating with Howcraft. My name is Denise Yezbak Moore with howcraftcollection.com. Today I'm going to be showing you how to create my sun, moon, stars bracelet. The tools and supplies you will need to create this bracelet are round nose pliers, wire cutters, chain nose pliers, S-Salon bead cord, number 18. This is a purple or lavender color. I'm going to be showing you a couple of tricks on using this cording. So we will be using Beadalon thread conditioner, some clear coat nail polish, and super glue. You will also need beautiful beads and components from howcraftcollection.com. So we will be using this Celestial Charm Mix, this purple glass connector, some 8mm nut beads, these purple luster faceted 18mm lentils, 4mm jump rings, a lobster clasp, a 15mm jump ring, and these little spacer rondelles. Also a beaded head pin. I also have a little trick for fraying the ends of the cord, so if you have a small wire brush, that would be helpful. S-Salon cording is a little bit harder to work with. A wax linen cording is very waxy, so it tacks up easily. The ends of this cording tend to fray. It's harder to string the beads. So I'm going to show you a little tip on how to prep your cord to make it easier to create this bracelet. So we're going to grab our clear nail polish. And we're just going to coat the end. And then you're going to take your fingers and you're going to roll it. And you're going to do that to each side of the cord. And then we're going to let it dry. It'll harden and it'll be super easy to string our beads. Next, we're going to use the Beadalon thread conditioner. We're going to be using 3 strands and forming overhand knots. And it's really hard to form these overhand knots if the cording isn't a little bit tacky. So after you have put the nail polish on your cording, you're just going to take it and you're going to slide it through, and it's putting on a little bit of wax or the conditioner onto the thread. And then I like to go through with my fingers and rub that conditioner into the cording. We have 3 lengths, 35 inches. You need to do this to all 3 lengths. We are now grabbing our 3 lengths of 35-inch prepped cording, and I'm grabbing the purple spacer, and we are just going to string all of our cords through. I'm going to bring them up. We're going to move down right about 6 inches. And we are going to form an overhand knot. And we're just moving the knot down. We're going to come back in. And we're going to pull that knot nice and tight. And on this cording, what I like to do is glue the knot down. So we are going to grab our super glue And we're just going to dab some super glue onto that knot, and now we need to let it dry. Now that our knot has dried, we're going to come back in and we're going to create these little dangles on the short end. I already created 2 to save time. So we're just going to come over and we are going to form an overhand knot. We're just going to move that knot down. So we're moving it down, and then we're pulling that little knot tight. Now we're going to string our little bead. This is where prepping the ends of our cord came in handy. I'm going to form an overhand knot, and I've found it easier to grab your chain nose pliers, and we are just going to move that knot down, bring it down, and pull it nice and tight. Oops, I apologize. I said chain nose pliers. I meant round nose pliers. Use your round nose pliers to pull that down. Then we're going to come in. We're going to trim that little end, grabbing our round nose pliers. We're going to come back in, and we are going to fray the ends. Now this is where the wire brush comes in handy. We're going to take it, and it's kind of like brushing your hair, right? It's going through and it's really getting all of those little strands, and we get this really cool frayed effect at the end. So here are our little dangles, and this end we will start our bracelet. We're going to separate the strands, and we are going to find the center strand, and we're going to grab one of our purple luster faceted 18mm lentils, and we're going to string that down to the end of the knot, and we're going to place the cording on each side of the lentil. And we're going to hold the cording with our fingers, and we're going to form an overhand knot. Those cords are nice and tight, and we're holding them with our other hand, and we are just moving the knot down. We're going to separate the strands, and we're going to pull it nice and tight. Let's repeat that one more time. We're finding the center strand. We're picking up our purple luster faceted 18mm lentil, and we're stringing that down to the end. We're putting our strands on each side, and now we're going to form our overhand knot. And we're holding those cords nice and tight with our fingers, and we're moving our knot down, and we're pulling it tight, separating the strands and pulling it tight. Now we're going to start stringing our nut beads. So I'm bringing all the strands together, and let's see, there's 2. And what I like to do is I hold it the bead down like this, and then we will pass that other strand through, and we're going to move it down till it butts right up against the knot. And we're forming an overhand knot. That bead is nice and tight. I'm holding it with my fingers, and we're moving that knot down, separating the strands and pulling it tight. One more time, we're grabbing our 8mm nut bead, and I'm holding that down with my finger, and I'm stringing this through. It's butted right up against that knot, and I'm holding it nice and tight with my fingers. I'm coming through, forming an overhand knot. And we're just moving the knot down, separate the strands, and pull tight. We're going to do this a total of 7 times. I'm going to go ahead and add the 5 other beads to save time. All 7 of our nut beads have been strung and knotted onto our cord. So now we're going to find the center strand. We're going to grab our purple luster faceted 18mm lentil, and we're going to string it. So much easier when you add the nail polish to the end of this cording. It doesn't fray. And we're going to place both ends on each side of the lentil. And we're going to come in, and we are going to form our overhand knot. And I'm holding the cords on each side, moving that knot down. If your knot turns out like this, don't worry. We'll just come through, and we're going to pull each of those cords and then move it down, and your knot will come out perfect. Now we're going to come back in, and we're going to add our jump ring. You can use a fully closed ring or a jump ring. If you're using a jump ring, please make sure that it is fully closed and nice and tight. We're going to bring all 3 of these strands. We're going to string our jump ring down to the end, and we are going to form an overhand knot. And I'm just moving the knot down, and we're going to pull on each one of these strands to make sure it's nice and tight. So there you can see the knot. Now I'm going to come back in with super glue. You can use GS Hypo Cement also. And I'm just dabbing that knot to make sure that the knot will not come undone. Let the knot fully dry before we move on to our next step. So now we're going to finish off our ends. I already did 2. I'll show you how to do the 1 on this side. We are going to form an overhand knot. And we're just moving our knot down. I'm eyeballing it. We'll pull that tight. They're right about equal. We're going to come back through. Grab one of our little gold rondelles. We're just going to string that in, bring it down to the end, and we're going to form our overhand knot. We're going to grab our round nose pliers, and we're just going to move that knot down, and then push it the rest of the way down with our fingers and pull it tight. Come back in, trim off that little end, grab our round nose pliers. We're going to separate the cording. And then we're going to grab our wire brush, and we're just coming in, and we're just kind of brushing it to make it look nice and smooth. Let's add our lobster clasp. So we're going to come over, and we're going to open our jump ring, grab our lobster clasp, go to the end of the connector. This is how you open and close a jump ring. And we are just going to close. So this is how our bracelet looks so far. You can leave it like this, or you can add all the little dangles. So let's start adding our dangles. We are going to use a beaded head pin and our 8mm net bead. And we're bending that wire down, coming in with our wire cutters. We're trimming that little end. Now we're going to form a simple loop, and we are just rolling the wire towards us. We are going to open that loop, come over to the jump ring, attach, and close the loop. I just attached my Moon Man and Sun Charm, and now we're going to attach the big Moon Man and Star Charm right here. So let's grab our 4mm jump ring, and this is how you open and close a jump ring. So we're going to open that. We're going to grab our big charm. We're going to separate these two charms, attach, and close. Let's grab our next jump ring, and we'll get the sun. I'm going to come over, and we're going to attach it to that little end on the loop right there, and close the jump ring. And let's grab our next jump ring. Let's see what side it opens on. We're opening that jump ring, grabbing the Moon Man, coming over to this little end, attach, and close. And there you have it, how to make my Sun, Moon, Stars bracelet. If you are watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe at Howcraft USA. Follow us on Instagram at Howcraft Collection Beads. Be sure to visit howcraftcollection.com for more inspirational DIY projects and for all your jewelry making needs. New beads are added weekly, and each week howcraftcollection.com features an amazing new sale. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time.